Atma, Namaste, and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us for part 2 of Beyond the Mind on Grandmaster Tuakok Sui's Golden Lotus Sutras. So let us invoke for divine blessing. To the Divine Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother, we humbly invoke for your blessings to our beloved teacher, Master Tuakok Sui, Mahaguruji Meiling, all the great ones, all the holy masters, saints, archangels, holy angels, and spiritual helpers, to all the high beings, we humbly invoke for your divine light, divine love, guidance, help, healing energy, and divine protection. Thank you for your compassionate, purifying light. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for blessing us with a loving heart, intelligent mind, and a powerful will that we may be of service to God and humanity. We thank you in full faith. So be it. All right, so before we start, as we always have done in all our esoteric study group, let's do some cleansing, because a lot of you probably had a lot of things happening during the day. You're probably very busy or stressed or whatever. Let's just flush all of it out so that we can all learn faster and we can absorb the teachings of our teacher more deeply. All right? So just tap your crown, raise your hand like this, focus on your crown, your hands and your feet. Imagine that you're under salt water up to your knees. Okay? As you know in previous lessons, this is to allow the divine energy to flow down through our bodies faster. And if you have salt water close by, it's even better. All right? So let's just start. Concentrate on your crown. Your hands will chant Om to purify the system. Just feel the divine energy flow down to your body, purifying all your chakras, your subtle channels, your subtle bodies. All your chakras are being cleansed. The divine energy from God is pouring down into your crown. Your crown chakra is being cleansed. Your forehead, your Ajna chakra, your back head chakras are being cleansed. Your throat chakras are being cleansed. Your front back heart chakras are being cleansed. Your front back solar plexus chakras are being cleansed. All negative cords are completely cut and disintegrated. Your liver and spleen chakras are being cleansed. Your kidneys are being cleansed. Your Ming chakra is being cleansed. Your navel chakra is being cleansed. Your sex chakra, your basic chakras are being cleansed. The divine energy is pouring down to your entire body. Just visualize your entire body as a hollow tube. Tremendous amount of liquid light is just pouring down, flushing and washing any negative thoughts, negative energies out of your system down into the salt water, into the earth to be neutralized. So be it. Just be super receptive. Just be receptive. In the name of the Divine Supreme God, in the name of our teacher, Master Tuakok Sui, Mahaguruji Meiling, and all the high beings, all your chakras are cleansed, your subtle bodies are cleansed. All negative cords are completely cut, severed, and properly disposed of. Your chakras are filled with peace, love, joy, and lots of happiness. Lots of love, lots of joy, lots of happiness. May your heart be touched with intense love. May your crown be touched with divine love. May your soul be blessed with lots and lots of divine love. So be it. Peace, love, joy, and happiness to every particle of your body. Now. Lots of love, lots of sweetness, lots of joy, and lots of happiness to every particle of your body. Lord God, thank you to the angels of love. Thank you for showering each and every person with waves of love, sweetness, and happiness. So be it. So be it. Just be still. Just be super, super receptive. Lots of peace, love, joy, and happiness to every particle of your body now. I ask this in the name of the Supreme God, in the name of my teacher, Master Tsokok Sui Mahaguji Meiling. So it is. So it is. Just be super receptive. Feel the energy flow down into your body. Just be super receptive. All right. You may slowly open your eyes with a big, beautiful smile. All right. Hope you feel better. So, shall we study? All right. So, open your book. Hope you have it. Last time we talked about meditation. That was what Master was talking about on meditation on page 5. And now we'll go to page 11 on the continuation. We're on meditation techniques. It says, Master says, the physical and the psychological conditions of each person vary. If any discomfort is experienced, stop practicing the meditation and contact your instructor, the pranic healing instructor, and whoever is helping you out with your meditation for guidance immediately. So essentially, every person, when you step on the spiritual path, when you do your meditation and so on, you come in with different levels of understanding, different levels of emotional baggage, a kind of old stuff that you've accumulated, or you could come in with other kinds of expertise. So everybody comes in different. So just watch it. If you have any discomfort, something doesn't feel right, get help right away. All right. But we'll go to it as much as we can to be as thorough to help you out to catch those little things that you might be able to easily correct. All right. Preparation for meditation is as important as the meditation itself. Self-realization comes when you focus on doing the steps. Essentially, what Master Cho is saying is, like everything else, meditation is not just one of those you just sit down and let go. There are many things that are involved. There are many, many factors. Essentially, it's just like pranic healing or Hatha Yoga, and everything you're learning from him it is a science, then it is an art. When you say it's a science before it's an art, that means every time there's a science, the principles are clearly stated. Okay? Then what makes it tick? What makes it work? The mechanism. So the principles, the mechanism, the actual technique is also given. So in other words, it's not just doing what you feel like. Basically, there are certain steps to prepare the body for meditation. And when you're meditating, there are certain steps that you do because certain principles and mechanisms are involved. And then so the technique actually allows you to benefit more from that meditation. So principle, mechanism, technique, and then different applications. So we'll go through this in detail. The next thing is, of course, it says, make a schedule. Unless you fix the time, you will not meditate. Make a firm resolution to meditate regularly. Now, why is this important? Let's face it, all of us live very busy lives, right? A lot of you have families, a lot of you have, full-time job, a lot of you are taking care of your loved ones. So don't you notice a lot of times when you come to class, you're so excited, you do healing, you do meditation. Come Monday or Tuesday, when you go back to your old life, if you don't really put a schedule on meditating or doing your work, what happens? Your life, your old life or your everyday life has a tendency to just literally, surround and suffocate your spiritual practice. Not because you don't want to, it's because you're so used to doing a certain way, your schedule in a day, you're doing 20 different things. So when you add one more, especially your spiritual practice, it's easy to just say, well, I'll do it later. So if you don't have a schedule, guess what happens? I'll do it tomorrow. Then tomorrow. Before you know it, the last time you meditate is when you took the class. So try to make a schedule. Just tell yourself, look, I will make time. Now, one thing to remember is something like this. What is it about spiritual practice and making a schedule? You will notice if something is important to you, you will take the time. If you think about it, no matter how busy you are, if there's something that comes up that you need to attend to, you would set aside something to take care of that something, right? Now, what people don't realize is something like this. The teacher always reminds us, he always says, look, you have to differentiate what is temporary and what is permanent value. So all these things that we're doing in the physical world, they are important, agreed. However, if you think about it, all these will one day fade away. Your spirituality, the development of your soul, all these things are permanent. The problem is we have a tendency to spend 90% or more of our attention on things that will one day break or disappear. Yet the things that are permanent, we kind of attend to it when we feel like it. Well, I'll go to church on Sunday when I have time, or I'll take the time to pray or meditate when I have the time. You don't realize that these things that we're taking the time on, whatever we generate in terms of energy, good karma, spiritual evolution, all these are permanent. Every micro ounce of it, every micro unit of it, you take with you when you leave your body. It's something that is permanent. So when you do your spiritual practice, if you think about it, if you're willing to schedule things like, I don't know, go watch a movie, schedule something like going out to dinner, going out to work out, go to play, whatever. All these things you would schedule, but we would not schedule something as critical as something that is always going to be with you. In other words, the benefit of your spiritual practice never fades. In fact, it is cumulative. So common sense will tell you, well, if I'm willing to schedule something for something that is just has temporary value, or just have a good time a little bit, then the value disappears. What more of things that are really important? What more of things that you will take with you for countless lifetimes? So scheduling is very important. All of us, me included, have a tendency to put importance on things that are in front of us. We have to think a little further away. Message always says, look, when it's time for your soul to leave the body, you cannot even take, a single dime. You cannot even take, everything. You're not even your underwear. You can even take it with you, he always says. So let's take the time to really, make a conscious decision. Look, I will schedule my spiritual practice. All right? So, next. If you can follow a schedule for 2 weeks, I'm on page 12. If you can follow a schedule for 2 weeks, you can follow it for 1 year. If you can follow it for 1 year, you can follow it for a lifetime. This is basically building habits. So message always says, repeated thoughts manifest as repeated actions. Repeated actions manifest as a habit. All right? So if you do not follow the schedule, you will not practice. If you don't practice, you will not advance spiritually. Follow the schedule. I think that's obvious. Okay? Now, a lot of people don't realize another thing. When you take a class, when you buy a book, when you buy a CD, all these things are just the first step. Taking the class does not make you spiritually develop as just taking the class. Buying the book, buying the CD does not make you develop. It is practicing what you learned from those classes or those books. It is practicing as you play that CD and meditate with it that makes you develop. Okay? So, a lot of times we hear people, oh, I took that class, I took Arhatic Yoga, I took this, I took that. The question is, yeah, you took it. Are you practicing? Oh, I took this class, I took it from this guru, this teacher, this and that. Everybody can do that. The question is, are you practicing? Yeah, but I read this book. You read it. Anybody can read the book. The question is, are you practicing? That might sound harsh, but you see, a lot of people always equate, oh, I took this class, I bought this, I did. Those things don't do anything for you, but what? Just put you on the right track, right? Put you in that direction. Okay, I took this class, I bought this book. Now I want to apply. The key word is apply. And the way we apply is by practicing. So as we practice more, we develop. As we practice more, we develop. So it just keeps accumulating. It starts to gain momentum. Now, the more we practice, the easier it is to practice more, because you already set yourself. It's like a groove in those old vinyl records. Once the groove is there, there's a tendency for your system to just follow. It's like your nervous system learns your memory, your thoughts. You just follow it like that. Okay? During meditation, it is better to take a series of short rests to keep your consciousness focused. This is much better than going through the entire long meditation without being focused, wandering from here and there. Now, this is really dependent on what meditation you're doing. What he's describing is something like this. In higher levels of Arhatic Yoga, you have to sit there for 45 minutes, an hour, or even longer. So this is something you build up. What he's saying basically in some of these higher meditations, sometimes, there's the limitation of the physical body, there's a limitation of the mind. So when you try to sit and meditate, there's a tendency for your body to fidget. Okay? That's because it's not used to being still. Then there's a tendency for the mind to wander. So he says sometimes it's better to do short amounts of 15, 20 minutes of intense meditation Really, really focus, one-pointed, then get up and do some stretching, relax, and sit down again. Because if you force yourself to do it, earlier on, you're focusing more on the trying to meditate than actually meditating. Okay, let's do that again. If you force yourself initially and your body cannot handle it, your consciousness cannot handle it, your mind cannot focus, then what's happening is you end up subconsciously focusing on the act of trying to meditate rather than doing it. Okay, now of course the Twin Hearts meditation, the Lord's Prayer, some of the meditations that you are already doing, they're very short, 15, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, half an hour the most. So if you just do some physical exercises, stretching before, most people can meditate in that amount of time. But if you want to go to high spiritual practices, then this is your training ground. You can do it for half an hour. Later on, you can do it a little longer, and a little longer, and a little longer. Okay? So let's continue. Then it says, don't invent your own mudra. Follow the simple instructions. Choose the right mudra. Anyway, mudra is the hand position. So what we usually recommend in pranic healing is you meditate with your hands open like this on your lap. That's the best, because when your hands are like this, when there's so much energy in your body you cannot handle it, it's like a release valve on each hand. Excess energy comes out. Then if you need a little more energy, it also comes in. So meditating like this on your lap. Okay? Now, also when you meditate like this on your lap, it makes you more receptive. There's a sense of spiritual conductivity or receptivity. Clear? Now, in putting your hands in different mudras, make sure you follow what you were taught in the classes. In Arhatic Yoga, you were taught a certain mudra, you follow it. But let's just say you don't have any spiritual background or practice. A good way to meditate is like that. All right? Of course, when you pray, a lot of people pray like this. That's also good. Now, for some people who are not aware of it, when you pray like this, you're like you're doing meditation twin hearts. The question is why. See, when you pray like this, when this part of your hand touches your heart, the heart chakra activates. All right? Then as the heart chakra activates, you will notice the direction of your fingers are pointing upward. So when you're like this, the heart chakra opens, the energy of love moves up to your crown. So when you're like this, you're praying, the energy of the heart expands, and from there it moves upwards toward the crown. As you remember, the energy of the heart triggers the crown, the human heart, the divine heart. So by doing this, even the person who has not done meditation twin hearts is already embarking on activating of the heart and the crown. Okay? So some of you who have studied a lot of meditation, I think this is not new for you, but for the new people, this is very, very important. So some of you who are praying intensely, you can do that. But during the meditation twin hearts, you don't have to do it this way, because when you start blessing from the heart and the crown, all these things are happening without you even have to consciously do it. Okay? Now, next page, page 13. At night, do meditation to strengthen your upper rooting, like a root on a tree. That's why there's a book Master Cho wrote, Spiritual Essence of Man, and the Inverted Tree of Life. The key word is inverted tree of life. Normally a tree, you have a tree like this, it's rooted downwards. But you and I, the soul, is actually an inverted tree. We're rooted upward. So the energy is actually coming from God. We're connected to God. That is your upper rooting. So when we incarnate, you're actually energy from above coming downwards. From the spiritual root, the energy comes down to the earth. Okay? So at night, when you do your spiritual practice, when you do your meditation, you are connecting to the immaterial world. Not the material world, but what? Immaterial world. So the realm of the soul, the realm of energy and consciousness. Okay? Now during the day, in the morning, do meditation to strengthen the lower root. Now I remember Master Cho saying there's this, I think he was I don't know if a priest or a scholar. Anyway, he got access to some of the Vatican secret libraries, okay? And one thing he said was, he found out that something about the Essenes, E-S-S-E-N-E-S, Essenes. And a lot of people believe that the Lord Jesus, in his physical body, the Holy Family as known in Joseph and Mary, as is known in the Catholic tradition, were part of the Essenes. They have this thing about always wearing white, and they have their own spiritual practice. Now, one thing that they used to do, according to this person who's found this, said that the Essenes had many different practices. One of the things they did is they practice purification by air, which is they run around naked. That's what we're told. Purification by earth, where they submerge their and put their bodies in the earth up to here and just let the earth energy absorb the dirty energy out. They also had purification by water, which basically is like baptism. And then on top of that, they worship the Divine Father at night and worship the Divine Mother during the day. So what does that exactly mean? It's the same thing as what this is saying here. At night, do meditation to strengthen the upper root. The Father represents the energy aspect, okay? The immaterial world, the fathers. That's why you say, our Father. So at night, they're supposed to worship the Divine Father. In other words, increase the spiritual root and meditate on the immaterial world. Then during the day, because you have to work, the physical form, you have to root downwards. That's why you meditate on the Divine Mother. Divine Mother is the physical world. That's why you call it Mother Earth. That's why the mother is the one that carries the baby. The mother is the form. All right? So what is that saying essentially? It's like this. At night, you do your spiritual practice. Your soul, part of your incarnate soul, leaves the body, travels in the inner world, go to evening schools. Yeah, some of you remember, you get up in the morning, it felt like you studied all night, right? And some of you notice that when you get up in the morning, you feel like you worked all night. So the soul is still active even when the body is asleep. Then during the day, your physical body is being used by the soul to move around and do physical work. So these things are very, very important. So your development is continuing during your active waking moment as well as when your body is sleeping. So at night, a good meditation would be before you go to bed, just do a very gentle, don't make it too intense because you don't want to be congested. You do blessing the earth, the heart and the crown, just to flush the aura and increase your spiritual connection and go to sleep. Don't do the full meditation Twin Hearts before you go to bed. It's too much energy. And although after meditation you feel like, just letting go and relax, the problem is if you do the full meditation Twin Hearts before you go to bed, your aura becomes so full of energy. You might not notice it, but when you go to bed, the energy doesn't move. It might cause congestion. Okay? If you want to, maybe at least 2-3 hours before bedtime, that's good. It gives it time for the body to release. If you like, a good prayer to do is the prayer and meditation is the Lord's Prayer. So when you do the Lord's Prayer, according to what you were taught by Master Tuo Kok Sui, you go to the chakras. What happens is at night when your body goes to sleep, your chakras are cleansed. It's easy for part of your incarnated soul to go traveling. At the same time, there's a higher probability you will remember your dreams and you will also be more lucid or more active during the dream time. Okay, that's during the night. During the day, it's also good to do meditation Twin Hearts and the other meditations, but make sure immediately after meditation, you focus on your basic chakra in your hands and root downwards. When you root downwards, it allows you to function. You see, your upper root is connected to your higher self. Okay, that's for inner spiritual activity. The lower root, in other words, from your basic chakra and perineum area, their pelvic floor, there's also the earth root, the earth cord. Now, this earth cord is very, very important because it allows us to be practical. It allows us to function every day. Haven't you noticed some people, they meditate, they're always spiritual, you talk to them, they're spacing out, they have financial problem, they have relationship problem, they cannot relate to the physical world. If you scan them, the upper root is big, the lower root is very, very small. They're always like, spacing out. So it's good to be spiritual, but if you cannot function, what's the use? So Master Cho will always say, it's good to be spiritual, but it's terrible to be broke. By having a strong spiritual cord, you're spiritually rich. By having a strong earth cord, you are financially rich or financially or materially stable. Both are important. Now, what you don't want is to have the lower root too strong compared to the upper cord. Then what happens is the person has a tendency to be over materialistic. So by your spiritual practice, you can tell what kind of things to expect. If your spiritual practice is balanced, then you'll notice you can be very spiritual, you can be loving, you can meditate, you can have inner experiences. At the same time, you're good at your work. You can focus, you can direct people, you can handle crisis. All this comes with balanced spiritual practice. All right, that's what he's saying. Next, practicing stillness and awareness enables you to engage in higher spiritual activity. Within stillness is greater spiritual activity. Stillness is just a stepping stone. Okay, I think that's self-explanatory. But if you like, we'll cover it just a little more. It's something like this. You see, it comes in stages. First, you have to still your body. You calm your emotions, right? So you calm your emotions, it allows your mind to be quiet. When your body is still, it's not moving, your emotions are calm, your mind, your mental faculties are quiet. So calm emotion, body is relaxed, it's still, your mind is still, it allows you to leave your body. When we say leave your body, we're talking about part of the energy is now your consciousness is focusing on your higher self. So when you're in the inner world, from this perspective here, everything is still. But as you become more still, the physical body, the emotions, the thoughts, you can actually function more in the higher realms. So actually stillness is a prerequisite for higher spiritual activity. That's what he is saying. That's why you notice sometimes when you're very, very relaxed, your mind is quiet and you start seeing stuff in the inner world. You start experiencing oneness, expansion, so on and so on. All those would be very difficult if your mind and your body is moving around. So one is actually prerequisite to the next one, and so on and so on. All right? Let's continue. Let's go to page 15. Page 15, on purification. Purification is necessary in achieving calmness and stillness. If you want tremendous spiritual energy to pass through the body, you must purify. Essentially, it's something like this. If the solar plexus is clogged up, the throat, the different chakras are clogged, it's hard to experience calmness and stillness, because when they're all clogged up, energy cannot flow. When energy cannot flow, the energy goes like that. That's why you notice some people, when they meditate, the body shakes, right? So unfortunately, unless your teacher really explained it to you clearly, a lot of times people have a tendency to glorify these shaking movements. And I remember one time we had a class with a Master Swakoksui. It was supposed to be one of those higher classes, so intense meditation, right? During the meditation, you could hear that one person is moving around, and when you look, his leg was shaking. In other words, his leg would stomp, very gently, boop, 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 like that. So I went over there, I said, are you okay? The person says, oh, that's no big deal. Every time he meditates, his leg shakes. I said, wait, what do you mean it shakes? It's just part of it shakes. So the problem is, since nobody told him, he thought that it's part of his spiritual development, like the shaking is an indicator that he's evolving. Like some of you have heard. So, guess what we did? We did sweeping. His groin area, his leg was clogged. The energy was not flowing. So after like 5-10 minutes of cleaning, he was able to meditate quietly. So when you see people, when they meditate and the body, shake like that, it's not because they're very spiritual. That means there are blockages within the chakras. So the question is, what do you do? Number one, you do a lot of breathing exercises and physical exercises before the meditation. So when you do the meditation, when most of these chakras are unclogged, the channels are clean, the energy flows down smoothly. I know some of you might be saying, yeah, but I was taught that the more I shake, the more developed I am. Use your common sense. You're trying to achieve stillness. How could you achieve stillness when the body is moving around? It doesn't make sense. It's like a contradiction in terms. So you need the body to calm and be still so that your emotions can be calm, your mind can be calm, so the stillness move higher and higher. But if your body's shaking around, what kind of stillness are you going to have? Do you understand what we're saying? I don't, he said, well, but I read this, I heard, use your head. Now, some of you, when you meditate, you notice you go like this. That's different. That's not shaking, that's rhythmic movement. When you say rhythmic, that means the energy is moving in a very gentle manner. Now, the question is, why is it that when you meditate, your body sometimes goes like that, right? That's because when so much divine energy comes down, your crown chakra is spinning so quickly. So when the crown chakra is spinning so quickly and you really let go, your body follows. Clear? However, it's something like this. As blissful, as nice as that is, when you do higher spiritual practices, even that has to stop. In other words, when you're experiencing all these things, that's good. But when you go to higher depths of spiritual development, even that you have to control the body, say, hey, you body, behave. So when the body's very, very still, then you can experience even more stillness. All right? So I hope that helps some of you, the importance of purification, cleaning the pipes. All right? Now, purification of the body and that of the incarnated soul is necessary for spiritual development. With thorough purification, it is easier to achieve oneness with the higher soul. Now, I guess the best way to explain it is something like this. All right. So I'll just use this cup. When the higher soul, the real you, decides that it wants to have a physical, emotional, mental experience in the earthly life, it will pour a portion of itself into vehicles called the physical body. So as Master Cho always explains, if this is the higher soul, this is the incarnated soul. The higher soul is pure. The incarnated soul, because it is housed like a house, by different vehicles like the physical body, emotional, mental body, it is easily influenced. For example, if the incarnated soul forgets that it is part of the higher soul, it has a tendency to get entangled with the pleasures of the physical body, the emotional body and the mental body, the different vehicles. So when that happens, the incarnated soul, which is the liquid that's inside this cup, is not clean. Although the essence comes from the higher soul is clean, but it is biased, it is easily contaminated. So as we go through life, what we're trying to do is we're trying to clean up the incarnated soul through our spiritual practice. So through our spiritual practice, it is improved. So when it's time to leave the body, whatever lessons that are learned here are uploaded back to the higher soul evolves. So as the higher soul evolves, it says, oh, I want to learn more lessons. Okay, let's do it all over again. And then as we go through life, learn our lessons, and whatever lessons we learn, and, from the dumb mistakes we did, okay, it's uploaded. So this download and upload is what helps the higher soul evolve. Now, when we do spiritual practice, one of the initial things we want to do is clean up the vehicles, which will clean the incarnated soul. Okay? So we'll go through this in detail. So self-purification, okay, let me back up. With thorough purification, it is easier to achieve oneness with the higher soul. So it's something like this. Instead of waiting for the body to die to achieve oneness with your higher self, when we practice purification, when the channels, the chakras, and the consciousness is clean, even if we're not yet, the body is not yet dead, you can achieve oneness with the higher self even while you're still in the body. That is the key. That's why yoga is used. The word yoga is used. Yoga means union. The problem is a lot of people, they just use the word yoga or union to say, oh, it's the union of body, mind, and spirit. You ask them what it is. I don't know. It just sounds good. But in the truest sense, there are many levels of yoga. There are many levels of oneness or union. So the first union you want to achieve is oneness from the incarnate soul and the higher soul. And you go upwards, higher and higher and higher, and ultimately oneness with God. All right? So purification is a critical part, because before that union happens, the channels have to be clean enough so the energy from the higher soul can penetrate. Okay? I hope we're not making this too technical for you. Huh? Self-purification means that the body is made strong enough to withstand higher energy. Internally, you have to be wholesome. Internal purification is an absolute necessity. You must purify the incarnated soul of unwholesome qualities. Now, it's something like this. You will notice in pranic healing, we emphasize a lot of cleansing of the aura and the chakras. Okay? So, why don't we do a simple experiment? Okay, shake your hands. Now, visualize your head in front of you. Now, from your crown, there's a spiritual cord coming down. So just put your hand like this. Say the size of my spiritual connection. Okay? Feel the spiritual connection. Are you there? Okay. So just imagine your head in front of you. Scan the spiritual. Say my spiritual connection. All right. Now, the reason you're not like this, because this hand could be feeling this one. You don't go like this so that one hand is here, one hand is here. If you feel something here, you feel something here, it must be a pipe. Okay? So put your hand there. Note the feeling. Okay, got it? All right. You ready? Okay. Open your palms. Close your eyes. Imagine you're under a waterfall of light. Okay, that waterfall is cleansing your crown, your forehead, your ajna, your back head. Any negative thoughts, negative energies are now being disintegrated and cleansed, just like we did earlier in the meditation. We'll help you out a little bit. With the blessings of God, with the help of my teacher, Master Chokoksui, Mahaguju Mailing, and all the high beings, thank you for cleaning all their crown chakras. Thank you for cleaning their forehead, ajna, and back head chakras. These are now cleansed. All negative thoughts, negative energies are disintegrated, extracted, and properly disposed of. Your crown, forehead, ajna, back head chakras are purified. Your throat chakras are being purified. Any kind of energy of worry, anger, or negative speech, energy of negative speech is being disintegrated in your throat chakras, disintegrated, extracted, expelled properly. Your front back heart chakras are being cleansed. Your front back solar plexus chakras are being cleansed. In the name of the Supreme God, with the help of my teacher, Master Chokoksui, Mahaguju Mailing, all negative thoughts, negative energies, any kind of anger, resentment in your front back solar plexus chakras are being dissolved, disintegrated, extracted, expelled to the nearest salt water. Your front back solar plexus chakras are cleansed. Your navel, Mingmen chakras are cleansed. Your sex chakra, basic chakras are cleansed. All your chakras are cleansed. All negative thoughts, negative energies are cleansed. In the name of the Divine Supreme God, in the name of our teacher, Master Chokoksui, Mahaguju Mailing, so be it. All negative cords cut into the salt water. All your chakras are cleansed now. Lord God, thank you. Master Chokoksui, Mahaguju Mailing, thank you. So it is. Cut. All right? You may slowly open your eyes if you can. Okay, ready? Shake your hands. Visualize your head in front of you. I would suggest you start a little further out. Okay, one hand higher than the other. Say my spiritual connection. Do you notice anything different with the size of the pipe? Do you notice you feel lighter? That is the meaning of purification. You see, in electronics, at least I learned this in school, it's probably the only thing I remember from school, they have a certain formula. The current is equal to the voltage overcoming a resistance. Let's do that again. Current is equal to voltage over resistance. In other words, how much current flows through a single wire is dependent on how much resistance the voltage or the source of the energy has to overcome. So the source is constant. God is constant. That's never been a question. The energy passing from God to the higher beings is constant as far as we're concerned from our perspective. So the energy pouring down is constant, okay, from way, way up there. Now, how much of it can actually flow right through us is dependent on how clean our channels and our chakras are. So when the chakras and channels are clean, then the energy can flow through, so the energy increases even more. You with me so far? It does not back up, it just flows right through. So what is the meaning of this? When the chakras are clean, emotions are calm, there's a tendency for the body to be healthier, the mind is clear. Then, when these things happen, even more current, it compounds. So you'll notice your meditation becomes deeper, you have more inner experiences, it builds. Now, if you don't clean the channels, you don't clean the chakras, guess what happens? You just do meditation to generate energy. As the energy comes in, it cannot go through, it gets stuck. That's why a lot of people, when they do meditation, initially when they meditate, they experience nausea, like they want to throw up. They start having headache, throat pain, whatever, because the energy is trying to go through a pipe that is clogged. So in the process, when the pipe is clogged, it has a physical reaction, emotional, or mental reaction. That's why some people, they go through a purging. You know, in some schools, instead of focusing on purging and cleansing, they focus more on the meditation. And when things come out, then what do? Then, you go there, scream and yell, you chant certain mantras to flush it out. All those work. Many, many ways to purify. But in pranic healing and arhatic yoga, there are simple step-by-step techniques with minimal problem and pain. One of them is saltwater bath, cutting the cords, doing self-cleansing, reading books on how to forgive, how to let go. All these things clean the chakras. And when you do meditation Twin Hearts, the nice thing about it, when you do meditation Twin Hearts, the first 15-20 minutes of the meditation is blessing. So when you're blessing, where hands are open like this, you're actually allowing yourself to be a channel to bless the earth. So in the process of that divine energy coming down, it's pushing out our garbage out. In other words, as the divine energy is flowing through us, it's dragging all the impurities out of our system. So literally, it is in giving that you receive. So this thing about purification is something that Master Cho used to always emphasize. Well, he's still emphasizing in the books. So but as we do more purification, life is easier, has less problems, because when the channel can go through clearly, there's less obstruction and less disruption in our life. All right. So let's continue. Now, certain breathing exercises physically purify the body and psychologically purify the soul. Breathing exercises regulate your emotions and your thoughts. Breathing increases your overall energy level. Some breathing exercises, when practiced regularly, upgrade the quality of your brain. Now, since this book is open to the public, I cannot go through in detail about the breathing exercises. But if you've taken pranic healing, you have the pranic breathing exercises. That's in the book. The ones who've taken Arhatic yoga, you've been taught of three different breathing exercises. So when you practice those breathing exercises, they have many good effects. Number one, it cleanses the chakras. Number two, as the chakras are cleansed, you allow more energy to flow through. As more energy goes through, it strengthens the body. Then one of the breathing exercises actually upgrades your nervous system and your brain so it can absorb even higher spiritual energies, and also be able to allow the subtle impulses from the higher soul to penetrate into your consciousness, which comes up as intuition or inner knowing. All right. Now, proper breathing gives you calmness and stillness, emotionally and mentally. Through right breathing exercises, you may achieve effortless inner calmness. So when the chakras are being cleansed, the emotions are being cleansed, then it manifests as calmness. And so on and so on. Okay. Too much energy and no exercise equal energy congestion. Basically, when we do physical exercises, as the energy is coming in, you allow the cells. Okay, it's something like this. When you do physical exercise after meditation, the energy is given more room to go into your system, because as you do exercise, if you have a clairvoyant look, the aura starts emitting, not really emitting, but releasing like gray clouds out of the aura and the chakras. That is the old energy. So as this old energy comes out of your system, the divine energy is able to penetrate deeper into the cells. Okay? So that is what prevents congestion. The energy doesn't get stuck because the channels are clean. Anything that does not flow properly or is blocked leads to congestion. We're on page 17. Do physical exercises to avoid congestion to increase your energy level. For the blessings to flow through you, you have to be physically and energetically clean. Otherwise, there will be resistance. Once the body is clean, the body can easily absorb the fresh energy generated through meditation. I think that's obvious. Next, meditators should be predominantly vegetarian. Ordinary people can eat pork because their Kundalini energy is not awakened. Not awakened means minimally awakened. Let's clarify. You know, as message always says, truth not only has to be qualified, but it has to be quantified. So when we say meditators should be preferably vegetarian, let's just clarify that. Number one, depends on what kind of meditation you're doing. If you're doing ordinary meditation, you know, just sitting down, visualizing the rose or whatever, then you're not really generating a lot of energy. It just calms the system down. So you do not really required to have a really clean system. Now, when you're doing higher spiritual practices like Arhatic yoga, when so much energy comes in, then it demands more on your system. So ordinary people that are not really serious on their spiritual path, they just meditate maybe once a year, once or two. You know, the Kundalini energy, which is the energy like a power source at the lower part of the body, it's not really that awakened. So when there's not much energy coming here, not much energy come here, even if the pipes are clogged, you won't notice much difference. As Master Cho always describes, if you have a highway that has many cars going through, if you drop a suitcase, dropping that suitcase will cause severe problems because there's so many cars going by. But if you're at night at 2 o'clock in the morning, there's hardly any cars. You drop that suitcase, you know, there's hardly any cars. Any cars that comes by will just move around it. So a person who does a lot of spiritual practice, the chakras are relatively clean, there's a lot of energy moving around. That's why you have so much energy. You put a little bit like pork or something that clogs the channels, you'll feel it right away. But the person who barely meditates, is always angry and upset, the energy level is so low. If you look at their aura, barely energy moves. That's why they're dragging their body. They can eat pork, they can eat whatever food that clogs the chakras. They won't notice the difference because the chakras are already clogged in the first place. So the higher you go in your spiritual practice, the more it demands on your body. So as you progress, you will notice there's a tendency for your body to reject meat. Now, if there's still the addiction to meat, as you go to higher and higher, there's two ways to get rid of it. One is to just use your will, say, I'm not going to eat meat, or cut it down. That works for some, but for most of us, that's not easy. Would you like to know the other technique? It's very simple. You increase your spiritual practice. As you increase your spiritual practice and you still eat food like pork, catfish, or eel that clog your channel, your body gets sick. So the more you meditate, the sicker your body gets. I know what you're saying, that's torture, but sometimes that's how some of us learn, through experience. So at some point, you have to make a choice. The line has to be drawn. You go, okay, how serious am I with my spiritual practice? Because at some point, it goes from intellectual understanding, like what we're talking about, to actual experience. You see, anybody can say that, yeah, I know it clogs my channels, but when you notice you cannot get out of bed, when you notice you feel like throwing up every time you eat meat after meditation, you go, well, something has to go. So either I quit my spiritual practice, decrease it tremendously, or I get rid of these foods that clog my channels. Personally, that's how I quit. Because coming from a Chinese background, we love pork. We love these. In fact, there's a saying in the Chinese tradition. They say every Chinese person, when a Chinese person goes into a Chinese restaurant, they eat everything with four legs, excluding table and chair. And they eat everything that flies except airplane. They eat everything that swims except boat and submarine. In other words, in our culture, in a Chinese culture, we believe in eating everything. In other words, not wasting everything. But the problem is when you get on the spiritual path, when things get speeded up, there are certain things we need to let go. So for me, it was difficult. So he told me, become vegetarian when we're doing higher levels of arhatic. Now, in my mind, that translated as it's a suggestion. So I kept continuing eating pork and all this stuff like I normally did. Before you know it, headache, back pain, cannot get out of bed. So after a while, you go, okay, something has to go. That's how I quit. Clear? So, in panicking, we're not fanatical. In our Hatha Yoga, we're not fanatical. We just tell you the facts. Then you decide if you want to listen to the teacher or you learn it on your own. As we always say, guess who's kinder? Learning from the teacher or learning it from life? In my case, I had to learn it from life. So I was thinking, man, if I just follow, there'll be less suffering. But some of us, the learning cannot be deep unless we experience it. So over time, I noticed, I think it's better to listen to the teacher, listen to what is taught, and less agony. So you have to decide on your own. All right? Now, next. Fasting develops your willpower. Of course, a lot of people fast to clean their chakras, to clean their digestive system. That's good. But the higher spiritual reason for fasting is to tell the body who's boss. So as you tell the body, okay, I know you want to eat at a certain time of the day, there's the hunger, there's the craving, okay, you will not eat. Just to tell the body, hey, I'm your boss. Clear? So fasting develops willpower. It also transforms your solar plexus chakra, cleanse the body, and so on and so on. The objective is to become more refined and to have more control over the emotions, as the lower chakras will be regulated by the higher chakras. In other words, when you say body, you eat when I tell you. It's just like the ajna telling the solar plexus, you behave. When your sex drive gets too strong and it's not time, might not be appropriate, the ajna tells the sex chakra, you behave. When the basic chakra says, oh, I want to make money, but there's money there, nobody will notice, I can just steal it, the ajna chakra tell the basic, you behave. That's the meaning of upper chakras regulating the lower ones. Okay? Dirty food, dirties only. Okay, next, this is the flip side of it. Dirty food, dirties only your body, but dirty words, dirty your soul. You talk about the incarnated soul. Spiritual development is dependent upon inner purification or character building. Okay, let's go into it in more detail. You see, it's easy to get caught up, like, ooh, I'm vegetarian, I have clean aura. But as Master always says, there's no point in being vegetarian if what comes out of the mouth is nasty. In other words, you can have the cleanest food, clean water, clean air, but those things don't do anything for you if you're always angry, upset, you're always very cynical, you're always, everybody says something, you're very negative. You might as well eat the pork, it's cleaner. I mean, that's a hard lesson to learn. If you think about it, it's true. You might as well be a full-time meat eater and be a happy person. Of course, that's the reason we're learning these things, so we can be both. But the thing that message always tells us is balance. Okay? You try to purify the body, you try to stay away from food that dirties your energy body, your chakras, right? But just as important is the purification of the soul, the purification of the body, the spiritual bodies. So as we practice trying to eat clean physical diet, we also have to clean emotional diet, verbal diet, mental diet. Clear? We just want to make sure that we see both sides. Otherwise, we might get so caught up in being a clean person, we neglect the important parts, because a clean body is important, but a clean soul is even more important. Of course, we're talking about the incarnated soul, not the higher soul. The higher soul is pure, does not get dirty. But the incarnated soul, it has a tendency to get engrossed and entangled in the lower worlds. So as we do inner purification and character building, we're purifying the incarnated soul, so when it's time to unite with the higher soul, it can just upload all the good stuff. Okay? If a spiritual practitioner does not do inner purification thoroughly, the negative qualities and weaknesses will come back to haunt the chela. Chela means the spiritual disciple. Okay? This will manifest as spiritual fall. It's something like this. If you don't do spiritual practice, we do not notice that certain qualities are being magnified. It's just like pouring fertilizer. When you pour fertilizer in the ground, the weeds grow as well as the flowers grow. So when we do a spiritual practice, when more energy comes in, the chakras become bigger. We don't clean the chakras, the innate seeds come out. Okay, let me clarify. A lot of you probably have noticed when you have a politician that's supposed to be honest, but when they enter the office of whatever it is, whatever government office, the person becomes corrupted. Not all the time, but a lot of times. The question is why? Because according to what we're taught in our Hatha Yoga, each of the chakras have pent-up emotions and ancient seeds. These are the defects that we carry over that we have not yet learned from before. So when a chakra is only this size, these seeds come out now and then, certain tendencies. But when the chakras become 2-3 times larger, then all these little seeds sprout. So if a government official, let's say it's going to be handling money, so in order to fulfill that job, the responsibility of that job, the basic chakra, for example, has to get big. If there are seeds of dishonesty within the chakra, as the chakra becomes big, they come out. So the person might not even notice that these things are happening. So in the spiritual practice, it's even worse. Because when you do spiritual practice, all the chakras are being stimulated. So if there are seeds in other chakras, they come out. So a lot of times we do not notice that we're becoming short-tempered. We notice that certain qualities come out that you don't even recognize, because these are seeds within the chakras. Now, the first step is to acknowledge them. What is it? Acknowledge that, look, I'm doing spiritual practice, but I'm not perfect. There is things within me that I'm still developing, and as I do spiritual practice, it comes out to the surface, so it's in your face. So if it's in your face, we don't have a choice but to deal with it. That's why when Master Cho was physically around, that's what he would do to us, to the disciples. He would do to me, go, look, okay, he sat me down. These are the things you need to correct. I go, oh, really? I don't notice that. He said, exactly the point. As the student, we are not always aware of our defects. That's why, there's a saying, one can be so lucky to have a spiritual teacher which will tell us exactly what we need to work on. A spiritual teacher telling us the good stuff is good. Spirituality, oneness, we got, all those are good. But it's equally as important that the teacher tells us what are the areas that we need to improve to be able to achieve that oneness with God. Do you get my point? To help, to teach you how to be happy, to be blissful, to be loving, that's all good. But let's face it, the human experience is learning all these things in life, up and down, up and down. And a lot of this up and down, especially down, has to do with what? Old stuff coming to the surface. As they come to the surface, it forces us to deal with it. That's where purification comes in. That's why when you take pranic healing, we do a lot of cleansing. That's the energetic aspect. And then you learn about the 5 virtues. Loving kindness, non-injury, honesty, non-lying, generosity, non-stealing. All these things are part of it. So as we see things accurately, we can act properly. So there's accurate perception, correct expression. We can correctly express. For example, loving kindness, non-injury. So you say, well, there's no purification. There is. Sometimes we have a tendency to hurt people with our words. Somebody says something, you go, oh man, I just want to. Even that mere thought is a sign there's still seed of anger, there's still seed of verbal harm or verbal violence. So that part has to be first recognized and purified out of our system, and so on and so on and so on. Clear? So on the next few lessons, we'll go through those in detail. But for now, let's talk about the concept, which is what? To purify is to allow more soul energy to come in, to allow the higher soul to control the different vehicles. Next. Sometimes I'm on page 19, almost done. Sometimes the mind is like a wild horse. It doesn't know how to behave. If your emotions and passions are not controlled, how can you have stillness? So that's why in India, in the Upanishads, and also in the sacred Indian scriptures, the Gita, it talks about the chariot. So the soul is like the charioteer. The horses are the different bodies. So if the charioteer cannot control the horses, the chariot goes all over the place. So the charioteer is constantly trying to control the horses. The stirrups is the spiritual cord. So the higher soul is constantly controlling the incarnate soul and the vehicles, the horses. So when you do purification, it's making the horses behave. And as the horses behave, then the stirrups can control the horses. The spiritual cord can now control the different vehicles. To achieve calmness and stillness, you must first activate your heart. Okay, this is a lesson by itself. It's covered more in Meditation Twin Hearts, but let's just talk about it. The first virtue in our Hatha Yoga is loving kindness and non-injury. Why is that? The heart. You will notice when you truly love someone, when you really love someone, you want the best for them. And you do everything in your power to always, do everything to love them, to care for them, and not cause any harm to them. Because you love them so much. Now, the key in spirituality is to take that loving energy you have for one person and generalize. What does that mean? That love that you have, you're not just showing love and kindness to one person. As this chakra expands more and more, it triggers the crown. When it triggers the crown is the chakra of oneness or universal love. So you're taking this love that you can only pour into one person, and you're trying to do your best to expand that love wider and wider and wider, to the fact that you can even care for people you've never met, helping people in disaster areas, when giving money, praying for them, meditating, helping people that you've never interacted. In other words, you just know this person's having a problem, you help them out. It starts here, because the saying is something like this. If you cannot even love the people that you're with, how could you love somebody you've never met? How can you say, oh, I love the entire earth, I love all the beings, I have universal love, when you're beating up the person next to you? It doesn't make sense. That's why it says, to achieve calmness and stillness, you must activate the heart. See, when you activate the heart, it triggers the crown. When the crown is activated, more spiritual energy comes in. There comes the flushing and cleaning energy. You're able to experience stillness and calmness. Now, to take it one more step, when the heart is activated, it also triggers the solar plexus to expel. So when the solar plexus is cleansed, there's calmness. We'll do a simple experiment. Okay, scan your heart. Okay, ready? Scan your solar plexus. All right. Now, visualize somebody you love in front of you. Just in your mind, imagine them in front of you. Be aware of your heart if you want to. Recall a happy event you've had with this person. Just imagine them in front of you. Smile. Recall that time when you were with them, how much love, happiness, and joy you have with them. the embraces, the loving words, the wonderful times. Okay? Now check your heart. Ooh, it's expanding. Check your solar plexus. Yeah. So of course, that one triggers the crown and so on and so on. That is the meaning. All right? Almost done. Within stillness, you develop bodhicitta, or the Buddhic intelligence. In modern English, Buddhic intelligence means higher intuitive intelligence, which is different from mental intelligence. All right. We'll just make this short. Essentially, it's something like this. You have different kinds of intelligence. Concrete intelligence is details. Mental intelligence, or higher mental intelligence, is the ajna. Abstract intelligence, so concrete intelligence, abstract intelligence. This one is seeing the big picture, strategizing, thinking. Throat chakra is details. So many steps higher above that has to do with the crown, which is direct knowing or intuition. Intuitive intelligence is what? Knowing something without having to study, you just know it. So, for example, the throat and the ajna, in order to come up with a conclusion, you have to study, and based on the data you have in front of you, you make certain conclusions, right? The crown chakra, there's no studying involved. You just know, period. So that's why Master Cho usually uses the example of the blind person. When a blind person's touching an elephant, this is the trunk, this is the feet, this is this. You put all that data together. The throat chakra is taking all the detail. The ajna says, okay, let's synthesize all this information. It's an elephant. The crown chakra, Buddhic intelligence, there's nothing to touch, there's nothing to study. You just ding, you open the eyes, it's an elephant. Now, within stillness, you develop bodhicitta. You see, when this is activated, it activates the crown. When the crown is activated, you become more intuitive. You know things without having to study. You walk into work, there's a crisis, people are going, what do we do? You look at, hello, it's obvious, do this. That's knowing it just like that. Okay? So your spiritual practice, your meditation, does not only help you in your spiritual meditation, your spiritual class, it helps you in your daily life. That is the objective, to bring spirituality into your everyday life. Through stillness, you realize your own divinity, and you realize the divinity within other people. Okay, we'll talk about that in the next few lessons when we talk about Namaste. What is the purpose of achieving stillness? So that your inner activities will become more developed. In other words, you'll be more aware of the activities of your soul. All right, that seemed to be an action-packed session, so I hope you learned something. That we just covered one. We'll cover the other chapters in subsequent ones. All right, now before we finish this session, let's just have a short meditation, shall we? Take your left hand, touch your heart, your crown by your right hand touch. Okay, go like this. Focus on your heart and your crown. Visualize your loved ones in front of you. Shower them with peace. Shower them with love. Shower them with lots of sweetness. Just flood them with beautiful pink light from your heart, beautiful golden light from your crown. Of course, this is just a small part of meditation twin hearts, which you should practice. We're just doing a quick one to just kind of put together what we've learned. Now visualize the earth in front of you. Focus on your heart. Focus on your crown. Shower the earth with pink light first from your heart. From your crown with golden light. Then the heart and the crown, golden light toward the entire earth. From the heart of God, let every person, every being be blessed with loving kindness, with great joy and happiness, with understanding, harmony, and divine peace. Blessings be to every person and every being in the entire earth without exception now. So be it. Blessings be to all. Blessings be to all without exception. So be it. Continue flooding the earth with peace, love, joy, and happiness. We are just instruments. Let every person in the higher world, let every person, every being in the higher worlds, the middle worlds, and the lower worlds be divinely blessed now. So be it, without exception. So be it. Blessings be to all. Now keep your eyes closed, tongue still on the roof of your mouth. Lower your hands gently. Be aware of your crown. Imagine a beautiful golden light on your crown, a beautiful golden flame. Look at that golden flame. Maintain your stillness and awareness. Look at that flame. Meditate on the stillness in between each Om. So just silently chant Om with me, silently. Meditate on the stillness and the silence in between each Om and the beautiful golden flame. Be still, be aware, let go, let go, let go now. Allow yourself to just dissolve into the light. Dissolve and let go now. Just let go. Okay, gently, slowly, come back to your body. Move your fingers, move your toes. Raise your hands again like you did earlier. Visualize your loved ones and your friends. Shower them all with golden light. May they all be blessed with good health, happiness, prosperity, and spirituality. So be it. Visualize your country, your city, your town. Flood them with golden light. Blessings be to all. So be it. Now be aware of your feet and the base of your spine. Imagine streams of golden light from your feet and the base of your spine going down deep, deep into Mother Earth. Let our beloved Mother Earth be blessed with divine light, divine love, and divine power. Let our beloved Mother Earth be blessed with good air, good water, and good people. Let our beloved Mother Earth be healed, regenerated, and revitalized now. So be it, so be it, so be it. So be it. All right, let's give thanks to the Divine Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother, to our beloved Teacher, Master Twakok Sri Mahaguju Mailing, and all the high beings. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To our higher soul, thank you for the blessings. In full faith, Amen. All right, I hope you learned something in this part 2 of Beyond the Mind. Stay tuned for part 3. We'll go into more details about Arhatic Yoga. We'll go in more detail about Namaste and the other spiritual practices. So please, if you don't have the book, order it, have it in front of you so you can take notes. And the nice thing about these videos, you can pause it, take notes, meditate, practice, and instead of just being video lessons, this has turned into a video ministry. So would we really like to continue sharing our beloved Grandmaster Tuaco Sui's teachings? So if you don't mind, please give us some feedback and testimonials. It's already down here on the screen. Just go ahead and click on it. Give us some feedback, how you like it, you didn't like it, or what you learned from it, your personal experience, so we can post them and also inspire other people to study more. As we continue with our spiritual practice, it's easy to get distracted with our daily lives. So as we go through this video ministry, it keeps people on track on their spiritual practice. And your testimonies definitely help inspire other people, all right? And as we always say, we want to give you the opportunity, if you'd like to help contribute to this video ministry. We like to keep it free. As you know, we're not charging for this. We'd like to keep it free. So if you'd like to contribute to that, you can donate also. That'd be wonderful. If not, whatever. We'll do it anyway, all right? So, Atma Namaste. Just want to thank you very much for supporting this ministry, and thank you for being with us as we share our beloved teacher's priceless teachings. All right? We'll see you next time. Atma Namaste. Take care of yourself. Bye.